missing some like more visual elements of the magazine. What's one of the big parts visually that's missing? The background. That's the next thing we're going to do today. And then we pretty much have all the photo editing under our belt, which is good. So we have 3 lovely options for making a background. You could go with a straight up solid color. So you may notice that some magazines have just like a very solid color behind them. So like I looked up Vogue, and perhaps if you're doing Vogue, you would do the same, where when I look at all the covers and I look at their backgrounds, what are you seeing really often?
It's just red, plain background.
Yeah, definitely plain. I'm seeing a lot of gray. I agree with that too. It's not always gray, but it's got that very like neutral tone to it for the most part. I'm going to show you how to do that next. Yep, that's one of the options. Okay. So you could go solid. And another option is that we could go with a little bit more of a gradient. And a gradient's just a fancy name for like a color blend. So in this case here, what are the 2 different types of colors you're seeing in the background? Yeah, like a lighter gray to like a really dark gray, I'd say is your better bet. Okay. So we have that option as well. Same here. They got kind of like the blue, like a gray blue to a light blue. Okay. Another option, because I'm doing Entertainment Weekly, is I see like a lot of the ones here have a photo in the background. When you're looking at the photos here, would you say that the background photo is very busy, or would you say it's a little bit more dull and muted? So do you think a background photo in general should be busy, or do you think it should be more on the muted side?
More on the muted side.
Good. Why do you think we want to have a background muted?
Because the main focus should be on the central figure.
Exactly. We need to have that focus on the person or persons on your cover. Okay. So a third option here is that you can go with a photo and we can blur it manually, which is actually pretty straightforward and easy. The key is what I'm asking you to do today is based on your magazine, and I want you to pretend you're like an employee of this magazine. You're working in their design department and you want to continue carrying on this kind of style that you see in all their magazines. So you want yours to match as best you can. Look at all the covers they have. And then you can start making some of your design choices off of that. So let's walk through like all the techniques for making a background. And this won't take you too long today, maybe 20-ish minutes, and we'll start talking about the next thing. So I scrolled down to my last layer, and chances are yours is going to be locked. So I unlocked that back layer so I could apply a color. The easiest way is usually your paint bucket. And if you don't see your paint bucket, you'll probably see the little gradient square, and you'll hold it, and the paint bucket's underneath. So I could change it to whatever color I want. I'm going to pick something ugly so we see it. And I'll just click it on that background piece, and I could do a solid color. You know, if you're a magazine, if black works best for you or plain white works best for you, that's fine. Do what's best for like the design of your company, because I'm going to look at other magazines of that brand and kind of compare yours to that. Okay. So plain color is one option. Okay. Gradient is a fancy option as well. So that's this little shaded box right here. And I like to go to Window, Gradient, and you'll get like this option here. They have like a billion choices if you want to use some ones they give you. They used to have really ugly ones, but they've gotten much better, which is nice. And the cool part is you could pick one, and there's different ways you could like distort it. So these little boxes at the top here, I can make this one more radial. So it's more of like a sunburst effect. So you've got different categories. Let's say I want something really custom. I can hit the little plus sign here, and it's going to give you like black and white as your standard gradient. But you could double click and change it. And I'll double click on this one and change it. And then you could be really custom with it. Like maybe I want a lot of red and not a lot of orange. Or maybe I want a lot of orange and not a lot of red. And then I just hit new and OK. And then when I use my gradient, it's usually at the bottom of this list here. Bam. And you can attach it that way, which is really fun. Okay. So that gives you some really nice options. Any questions about gradients? All right, one more thing, then I promise I'm going to leave you alone. The last option is a photo. So I actually blurred it a little bit already, but I dragged in a photo, which is a nice option. Before, it was really, I didn't blur it. I left it blurred from the last class. Sorry. But if your photo is really like, you need to kind of make it a little less focused, I go to filter, filter gallery, and the first one on my list is called field blur. And I know this seems weird, but you're going to put this little push pin in the middle of his face here, and it's got, you got to click it so it sits in place, and then it's got this little ring around it, and you could choose how blurry you want it to be. I even use this little slider here so I can make it more blurry. I don't want to do it to the point where I don't know what's going on, but I can adjust the slider to the point where I still know it's like his stage, but like it's not distracting. And then when I'm done, I just press OK. Oh, that's a different one. I'll go over it with you in a sec, okay? Just give me 1 sec to finish, okay? So that's our plan so far. Another thing I forgot to mention, if you want to go back into your masthead and change the color, you can use your paint bucket and do that at any point. You can change it a billion times, or you don't even have to change it. It's really what works best for you and your design. Okay. Any questions coming to mind so far? Okay. So let's shoot for like the next 20-ish minutes or so to do your background. And I'm going to talk about one other thing today. It's super simple. Get it out of the way. And that's our plan so far. 1 sec.